What is going on, beautiful people? Welcome back. It's your boy Blue, and this is my fourth wheel, but my first direct drive racing wheel. And oh my god, is it a huge difference. So let me break down why I chose MOZA versus everyone else. Today, there are so many good wheels to choose from, so the goal is to find the right wheel that works best for you. And what do you plan to use it for? You gotta make sure it checks all the boxes. Formula One racing and trucking are two very different driving experiences. As for me, I need a very diverse wheel because I plan to use the same wheel for anything and everything that drives. From Formula One racing, GT racing, drifting, trucking, rally, and even farming sims. Yeah, so when I'm looking for a wheel, there's 6 things I'm looking at: price, availability, compatibility, quality, feel, and functionality. Let's start with price, because direct drive wheels have always seemed to be beyond my reach, too expensive. I mean, I would need a crazy sim rig to just mount it on, right? But that's overkill. I'm not trying to be a pro sim racer, or so I thought, until I was recommended to the MOZA R5 bundle, which is what I'm using now. But before, I didn't know such bundles existed, and at a price that was actually reasonable. All the wheels I saw before were just unreachable, like Ferrari, Porsche, and all the fancy Formula One wheels and wheel bases. I just can't justify spending thousands on a racing sim setup. Thankfully, there are other options for cheaper entry-level direct drive wheel bundles now, but MOZA was one of the first. As for availability, it's as simple as, can I get it and how fast can I get it? I'm spoiled by Amazon Prime, so I don't like to wait a long time for shipping, and at the time I picked up the MOZA gear, it only took me a few days, a week max, while others had extremely long wait times or ridiculously high shipping costs. But one of the most important things to consider when choosing a wheel is compatibility. Does it work with the games or simulators you plan to use it for? Brands like Thrustmaster, Logitech, Fanatec have been around for a long time, so most games work straight out of the box. MOZA, though, is kind of a new kid on the block, but they've done a great job of making sure all the popular racing titles do work. So I've not had an issue with this, except for on like Farming Sim and other uncommon driving games with limited wheel support where you might like be missing feedback. So there's that. I also haven't seen very many third-party wheel mods, which has been pretty disappointing so far, because I've been looking for a trucking wheel compatible with the MOZA wheel bases, so I guess I'll just have to wait and keep looking. If you're on console, MOZA now has an Xbox compatible R3 version, but I'm hoping they make more console compatible versions for the rest of their lineup. So if you're on console, you might want to do some more research. But once you get into direct drive wheels, build quality becomes less of a problem no matter who you go with. As far as my experience with the MOZA R5, I've had no complaints. The wheel, pedals, and wheel base are built from aviation grade aluminum, leather, and steel. Even the desk clamp is metal. And the same can be said about the handbrake that I later picked up. The wheel itself is hand-stitched leather and it feels really nice. Smooth, comfortable in your hands, very durable actually. But a personal nitpicky complaint of mine is the stitching over long periods of use can start to irritate your fingers, but you know, maybe that's just me and my hand position. So I wear gloves when racing for that reason, plus my hands sweat. The buttons on the wheel are all plastic, so you know, nothing special here, but plenty to do all the basic common functions needed in most situations. And the paddle shifters are made of a thin metal with a really nice click to them. Even though they're not magnetic, they still feel just fine. But now let's talk about feel. You know, the feel of the force feedback. I've now been driving with this wheel for almost a year in various games, and I honestly think it feels great. Personally, coming from belt-driven wheels, direct drive is a huge upgrade, and I feel so much more detail in the feedback. The best way I can explain it is it's just a cleaner, smoother frequency of feedback that you feel in the wheel. The cheaper belt-driven wheels have a slight grainy feel to them. If you've used one, you know what I'm talking about. They can also be pretty loud, but the direct drive wheels are silent, and I love that. But don't forget, the wheel can only give feedback based on what the actual game is outputting. So some games are better than others. So I was very surprised and impressed the first time I gave this a try in Assetto Corsa. Oh man. Wow, this thing is shaking my whole chair. I legit felt that in the seat. The MOZA R5 has 5.5 Newton meters of torque and peak force, which in my opinion is plenty. If you turn the settings all the way up, you can get a fairly heavy wheel, but it's not strong enough to break your wrist. My force feedback settings are not maxed out, but I still find myself sweating after a 20-minute race. I don't know if this is translating through the video, but I am really having to put a lot of force and able to get this thing to turn. This is fun. So I can't imagine racing with an R21 with 21 Newton meters of torque. Sheesh. But one thing I noticed about the R5, after a few hours of continuous use, the wheelbase felt very hot, which is kind of concerning. Still, the R5, in my opinion, is great for the price, but it's definitely not the best direct drive wheel available. MOZA has better wheelbases at higher prices, of course, and so does its competitors. So it all comes down to which ecosystem you want to build on, because usually the wheelbase, steering wheel, and pedals are sold separately and are not interchangeable between brands. So now that I chose the MOZA R5 bundle, I can upgrade to any wheel MOZA offers. I already upgraded my pedals to the MOZA SRP load cell pedals, and they feel a lot better. The pedals that come with the R5 bundle, although they are fully metal in construction, they don't have any resistance on the brake pedal unless you buy the extra spring. So I decided to just upgrade to a better pedal set. I also added the MOZA handbrake to my setup, which has worked really well for me so far. And now for functionality, the MOZA gear is very easy to set up and install. MOZA has one of the best quick release systems out of anyone. So it's very easy to attach and detach your wheel to your wheelbases. And for the R5, you have the option to plug your pedals into the back of the wheelbase next to the USB and power connections. But one of my favorite things about the MOZA racing ecosystem is the free MOZA Pithouse software. It makes it extremely easy to set up and customize all your hardware. As soon as you plug in a MOZA product, it detects it, updates it, and configures it. You can also quickly swap between settings profiles for different games or car types without even restarting the game. And honestly, there's so much more to it. Even a mobile app is very user-friendly, but I don't have time to go into that today. So another important aspect for me was the need for a desk clamp on my wheels. Since I have a very unique setup, I'm actually using a flight simulator chair from Next Level Racing, so I need a desk clamp. But sadly, most of the direct drive wheels available don't include desk clamps. They expect you to have, some big expensive sim racing rig or something, or buy the desk clamp separately. So this was a big deciding factor for me. In conclusion, I chose the MOZA R5 and its ecosystem because it checks all the boxes for me. Affordable, available, compatible with all the games that I needed it for, good quality, good force feedback, great upgrade options, and user-friendly. So as always, let me know what you think about the MOZA lineup. Which do you prefer? Hopefully I was able to help you get a better understanding of what MOZA has to offer, but also what they don't have to offer. But as always, thank you so much for watching. Remember, you have 3 choices: give up, give in, give it all. You got peace, love, and God bless you. I'll see you guys next time, next video. Let's go racing.